Chosen one, listen carefully, this message you about to hear. They never told you the truth about her. They tried to make her feel ordinary, replaceable, too emotional, too intense, too much. But deep down, you always knew there was something different about you, something ancient, something powerful. Because only chosen women carry this kind of fire in their spirit. This is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. It is about a spiritual weight placed on your shoulders before you even understood why your life felt heavier than everyone else's. You were never just existing. You were being prepared. And what you carry cannot be taught. It is awakened. The power of discernment. Chosen women have a discernment that unsettles people. You walk into a room and instantly feel the energy shift. You sense lies before they are spoken. You read intentions before actions unfold. This is not paranoia. It is perception sharpened by experience and guided by divine wisdom. That intuition you have ignored before, it was never random. It is a protection mechanism, a spiritual alarm system. And every time you trusted it, it saved you. The burden of feeling everything. You feel deeply. Too deeply, they say. But what they call weakness is actually your greatest strength. Chosen women absorb the emotions of others. You can sit in silence and still feel someone's pain. You carry empathy like a second skin. And sometimes it exhausts you. Because you were built to heal, not to harm. But healing requires endurance. And endurance builds spiritual authority. Isolation was never punishment. You have spent seasons alone. Friends drifted away, relationships collapsed. You wondered what was wrong with you. But nothing was wrong. Isolation was alignment. Certain environments could not hold your frequency. Certain people could not grow at your pace. So life removed them. Not to hurt you, but to protect your purpose. You were separated because you are set apart. Why they tried to silence you. Have you noticed how often your voice is interrupted? How your confidence makes insecure people uncomfortable? Chosen women threaten systems built on control. Because you do not submit to manipulation easily. You question what others blindly accept. You refuse to shrink yourself to make others feel bigger. And that resistance exposes weaknesses in those around you. So they label you difficult, too spiritual, too independent, too aware. But awareness cannot be suppressed forever. The strength behind your softness. There is a misconception about you. They think because you are nurturing, you are fragile. They mistake kindness for weakness. But your softness is intentional. It is disciplined. It is strength under control. You know how to fight. You just choose not to unless necessary. And when you do stand up, it is never chaotic. It is precise. It is calm. It is powerful. Spiritual warfare looks different for you. Your battles were rarely physical. They were mental, emotional, spiritual. Doubt attacked you. Fear whispered to you. Temptation tested you. And still you kept going. Not because you were fearless, but because something inside you refused to break. That resilience is not accidental. It was cultivated through trials designed to strengthen your character. And every hardship carved wisdom into your soul. You were born with leadership. Even when you tried to blend in, people followed you. They confided in you. They sought your advice. They felt safe around you. That is not coincidence. Chosen women naturally lead through presence, not dominance. You do not chase attention. Attention finds you. You do not demand respect. Your integrity commands it. Leadership for you is not about control. It is about responsibility. The hidden loneliness of being different. There is a loneliness that comes with being spiritually aware. You see patterns others ignore. You feel shifts others dismiss. Conversations sometimes feel shallow. Connections sometimes feel temporary. And you wonder if anyone truly understands you. But your difference is not meant to isolate you forever. It is meant to refine you, to align you with those who are equally awakened. Divine timing over desperation. You have learned to wait, not passively, but patiently. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped begging for love. You stopped forcing doors open. Because every time you rushed, it backfired. So now you trust timing over emotion. You trust preparation over pressure. And that maturity is a sign of spiritual growth. The power of walking away. One of your greatest strengths is knowing when to leave. You no longer argue to be understood. You no longer fight to be chosen. You no longer beg to be valued. You walk away with dignity. And that silence speaks louder than confrontation ever could. Because a chosen woman knows her worth is not up for negotiation. The responsibility of influence. Whether you realize it or not, people watch you. They observe how you handle pain, how you respond to betrayal, how you carry yourself in hardship. You are an example, not of perfection, but of perseverance. And that influence is sacred. So guard your energy. Guard your integrity. Guard your heart. This power is not for ego. Being chosen is not about feeling superior. It is about serving with humility. It is about representing strength without arrogance. It is about walking in confidence while staying grounded in faith. The power you carry was entrusted to you. And anything entrusted requires accountability. So remain disciplined. Remain prayerful. Remain aware. Because your strength must always be guided by righteousness. You are not too much. Let this settle in your spirit. You are not too intense. You are not too emotional. You are not too independent. You are not too spiritual. You are exactly what this generation needs. A woman who feels deeply, thinks critically, moves wisely, and stands firmly. Embrace your awakening. Chosen woman, your journey was never random. Every tear refined you. Every betrayal strengthened you. Every delay matured you. Now it is time to stop shrinking. Stop doubting. Stop apologizing for your light. Stand fully in who you are becoming. If this message resonated with your spirit, let your presence be known. Like this video, so it can reach another chosen woman who needs confirmation. Comment, "I embrace my power," if you are ready to walk boldly in your calling. And subscribe to Return to Awakening, where truth is spoken without fear and strength is awakened without compromise. Your awakening is not an accident. It is a responsibility, the sacred patience you had to learn. There were moments you wanted to react, to defend yourself, to prove your innocence, to explain your heart. But something inside you whispered, "Be still." So you swallowed pride. You restrained emotion. You let time reveal what words could not. And in that restraint, you discovered power. Because patience is not weakness. It is controlled strength. The fire they could not extinguish. They tried to embarrass you. They tried to replace you. They tried to misunderstand you on purpose. Yet somehow you kept rising. Not louder, not bitter, but wiser, more aware, more disciplined. That is the fire of a chosen woman. It does not burn recklessly. It burns with purpose. The way you transform pain. Most people break when betrayed. You rebuild. Most people harden when hurt. You reflect. You turn pain into perspective, tears into clarity, disappointment into direction. That alchemy is rare. It is the ability to extract wisdom from wounds. And that ability is spiritual maturity, the calm that intimidates chaos. You no longer react to every insult. You no longer chase every rumor. You no longer defend against every accusation. Your calm confuses chaos, because chaos feeds on reaction. And you have mastered restraint. There is a stillness in you now, a grounded energy, a quiet authority, and it unsettles those who thrive on drama. Why you outgrew so many people? It was not pride. It was growth. Your conversations evolved. Your priorities shifted. Your standards elevated. And suddenly, what once felt exciting felt empty. What once felt necessary felt draining. Growth can feel like loss, but sometimes loss is confirmation that you are ascending. You did not abandon them. You simply outgrew the version of yourself that tolerated less. The weight of being the strong one. In your family, you are the stable one. In your friendships, you are the advisor. In crisis, you are the calm voice. But who strengthens you? Who pours into you? Chosen women often become pillars for others. But even pillars need reinforcement. So do not neglect your own restoration. Even the strongest soul needs moments of solitude with the Creator. The discipline behind your glow. Your glow is not accidental. It came from boundaries, from saying no, from waking up early to pray, from choosing peace over revenge, from walking away when ego begged you to stay. That glow is earned. It is the result of unseen battles, of tears wiped in private, of growth no one applauded. And that discipline separates you, the sensitivity that is actually strength. You notice tone shifts. You sense emotional undercurrents. You pick up on subtle disrespect. That sensitivity once made you insecure. Now it makes you strategic, because awareness allows preparation, and preparation prevents destruction. You are not fragile. You are finely tuned, like an instrument calibrated with precision. The power of self-control. There were opportunities to retaliate, to expose, to embarrass, to hurt back, but you chose restraint, not because you could not respond, but because you understood consequences. Self-control is one of the rarest forms of power, and you possess it. You think long-term. You protect your character. You guard your reputation. The vision you carry. You see beyond the present moment. You think generationally. You consider legacy. You ask yourself, what example am I setting? That mindset is uncommon. Many live for temporary pleasure. You live for eternal impact. And that perspective shapes your decisions. It shapes your relationships. It shapes your standards. The healing you bring into rooms. You may not even speak much, yet people feel safe around you. They open up. They confess hidden struggles. They seek comfort in your presence. That is not coincidence. You carry emotional safety. You carry wisdom without judgment. You carry compassion without enabling weakness. And that balance is powerful. The fearlessness you developed quietly. You used to fear rejection, fear abandonment, fear being misunderstood. But life forced you to face those fears. And once you survived them, they lost their control over you. Now you move differently. You are not desperate for approval. You are not terrified of being alone. You are not intimidated by opinions. That freedom is strength. The alignment you refuse to compromise. You no longer entertain confusion. If it feels misaligned, you step back. If it feels forced, you release it. If it disrupts your peace, you distance yourself. That discernment protects your destiny. Because not every opportunity is a blessing. Not every connection is divine. And not every compliment is sincere. You have learned to test everything. To move carefully. To guard your spiritual clarity. The authority in your silence. You do not need to announce your worth. You do not need to compete for attention. Your presence speaks. Your posture communicates. Your boundaries clarify. Silence, when controlled, becomes authority. And you have mastered when to speak and when to withhold. That balance creates respect, even from those who do not like you. The standard you represent. You raise the standard simply by existing. You remind others of discipline, of faith, of self-respect. And those who refuse growth will resent you for it. Because your life becomes a mirror. And not everyone likes their reflection. But do not lower yourself to make others comfortable. Stand firm. Remain grounded. Your example matters, the courage to start over. You have rebuilt your life more than once. New environments, new circles, new habits. While others cling to familiarity, you embrace necessary change. Starting over did not scare you. Staying stagnant did. So you chose growth over comfort. You chose obedience over ego. You chose elevation over attachment. And every restart refined you instead of reducing you. The boundaries that protect your peace. You used to explain yourself repeatedly. You used to overextend to prove loyalty. You used to tolerate subtle disrespect to keep the peace. Not anymore. Now your no is complete. Now your silence is intentional. Now your distance is strategic. Boundaries are not walls to punish others. They are gates to protect your spirit. And you have finally learned how to guard your access. The way you trigger hidden insecurities. Some people react to you without reason. You walk in with confidence and they grow defensive. You speak with clarity and they feel challenged. You shine without trying and they feel exposed. It is not your presence that disturbs them. It is what your presence reveals. Chosen women illuminate truth. And truth makes insecure hearts uncomfortable. So do not dim your light to soothe fragile egos. The consistency that builds quiet power. You show up even when unseen. You stay disciplined even when unrecognized. You remain faithful even when results are delayed. Consistency is your secret weapon. Not hype. Not noise. Not performance. Just steady growth. Day after day. Prayer after prayer. Decision after decision. And over time, that consistency compounds into authority. The emotional intelligence you developed. You know when someone is projecting. You know when silence is needed. You know when to comfort and when to correct. That balance was not always natural. It came from being misunderstood, from studying human behavior, from reflecting instead of reacting. Now you respond with intention. You analyze before you act. You observe before you speak. And that awareness keeps you steps ahead. The refusal to compete. You no longer compare journeys. You no longer envy timelines. You no longer rush milestones. You understand that what is meant for you will require preparation, not pressure. Comparison once stole your joy. Now gratitude protects it. You celebrate others without diminishing yourself. Because you know your assignment is unique. And no one can fulfill what was designed specifically for you. The strength to forgive without reconciliation. You have forgiven people who never apologized. You have released resentment without receiving closure. You chose peace over prolonged bitterness. Forgiveness did not mean access. It meant freedom. You understood that carrying anger only poisoned your own spirit. So you let go quietly, not for them, but for your own clarity. That level of maturity takes courage. The wisdom gained from betrayal. You were betrayed by those you trusted, and it hurt deeply. But instead of turning cold, you turned wise. You stopped sharing prematurely. You stopped trusting blindly. You learned to observe patterns. Betrayal sharpened your discernment. It strengthened your boundaries. It forced you to mature emotionally. What was meant to break you educated you instead. The peace you value above attention. You used to crave validation. Now you crave tranquility. You used to chase excitement. Now you choose stability. Peace has become your priority. And that shift changed everything. You sleep better. You think clearer. You move slower but wiser. Attention fades quickly. Peace sustains you. The spiritual sensitivity to timing. You sense when to move. You sense when to wait. You sense when something is shifting beneath the surface. This timing is not luck. It is spiritual alignment. You pray before decisions. You reflect before commitment. You step back before reacting. That pause protects you from impulsive mistakes. It aligns you with purpose instead of pressure. The resilience no one saw. There were nights you cried alone. Moments you doubted yourself. Seasons you felt unseen. Yet you kept showing up. You kept believing. You kept striving. Your resilience was not loud. It was private. It was internal. But it was powerful. And that quiet endurance built an unshakable foundation. The integrity that defines you. You could have cut corners. You could have compromised your values. You could have chosen easier paths. But you did not. Integrity guided you. Even when no one was watching. Even when it cost you opportunities. Even when it delayed success. You chose what was right over what was convenient. And that decision shapes your destiny. The sacred confidence you now walk in. It is not arrogance. It is assurance. You no longer second-guess your worth. You no longer shrink in powerful rooms. You no longer apologize for taking up space. You walk in knowing who you are. Grounded. Composed. Faith-centered. That confidence is anchored in humility. And that combination is rare, the discipline of guarding your heart. You no longer give your heart to potential. You give it to proven character. You no longer fall for words. You watch actions. You study consistency. You measure respect. Because you learned that your heart is not a playground. It is a sacred trust. And not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. Guarding your heart is not coldness. It is wisdom shaped by experience. The strength to stand alone. There were times you stood alone in your beliefs. Alone in your values. Alone in your standards. Others folded under pressure. You did not. Even when it cost you popularity. Even when it cost you relationships. You chose principle over approval. And that strength forged your character. Standing alone taught you that divine support outweighs human validation. The awareness of your influence on men. You notice something. Your presence exposes immaturity. It challenges laziness. It confronts insecurity. Some men admire your strength. Others feel threatened by it. But you refuse to shrink to make anyone feel comfortable. You understand that the right partner will not compete with your light. He will respect it. You were not created to lower your standards. You were created to uphold them. The patience to build, not beg. You stopped begging for effort. Stopped pleading for loyalty. Stopped convincing people to see your value. Now you build. You build your faith. You build your skills. You build your future. Because you understand that self-development attracts what desperation never could. And what you build with patience lasts longer than what you chase with emotion. The quiet separation happening around you. Have you noticed the shift? Conversations feel different. Connections feel thinner. Certain invitations no longer excite you. This is not boredom. It is evolution. You are entering a new level. And every level requires separation. Not everyone can accompany you where you are going. Some were seasonal. Some were lessons. Few are permanent. The clarity you gained about love. Love is no longer fantasy to you. It is responsibility. It is alignment. It is mutual growth. You no longer romanticize inconsistency. You no longer confuse intensity with intention. You understand that true love requires discipline, communication, faith, accountability, and you would rather wait than settle. Because settling costs more than solitude ever will. The emotional control that protects you. You feel deeply, but you do not act impulsively. You take space before responding. You pray before deciding. You reflect before concluding. This emotional control shields you from regret. It protects your reputation. It protects your peace. You are no longer ruled by mood. You are guided by wisdom. The identity you had to reclaim. There was a time you forgot who you were. You overgave. You overcompromised. You overextended. Until you felt empty. But through reflection and faith, you remembered. You remembered your worth. Your standards. Your calling. Reclaiming your identity required distance from those who benefited from your confusion. But once you reclaimed it, everything shifted. The confidence that comes from obedience. You are not confident because of attention. You are confident because of alignment. You know you are striving to live with integrity. You know you are trying to do what is right. That inner alignment creates peace. And peace creates confidence. When your conscience is clear, you walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. The ability to see through flattery. Compliments no longer blind you. You can sense sincerity. You can detect manipulation disguised as praise. You understand that not every admirer has pure intentions. So you smile. You observe. You take your time. Because discernment protects what naivety once endangered. And you refuse to repeat old lessons. The growth that made you unrecognizable. If someone met you years ago, they would not recognize this version. You are calmer, stronger, more self-aware, more selective. Growth changed your tone, your posture, your circle, your reactions. You did not just age. You evolved. And evolution requires leaving behind outdated versions of yourself. The authority in your standards. You no longer negotiate non-negotiables. Respect is mandatory. Effort is expected. Honesty is required. You communicate clearly. And you enforce quietly. If someone violates your boundaries, you do not argue endlessly. You adjust access. That authority commands a different level of treatment. Because people respect what they know they can lose. The peace of not explaining yourself. You do not owe everyone an explanation. You do not owe everyone access to your thoughts. You do not owe everyone understanding. Some will misunderstand you. Let them. Some will misjudge you. Let them. Your assignment is not to manage perceptions. It is to maintain integrity. And when you are aligned, misinterpretation loses its power over you, the legacy you are quietly building. You are not just living for today. You are building something that will outlive you. Your discipline, your faith, your standards, they are planting seeds in places you cannot yet see. You are breaking cycles silently. You are rewriting narratives courageously. You are choosing righteousness over rebellion. And that decision will echo through generations. The final awakening within you. There is a shift happening inside you right now. You feel it. A deeper confidence. A stronger calm. A clearer vision. You are no longer asking for permission to become who you were meant to be. You are stepping into it. Fully. Boldly. Without apology. You understand now that being chosen is not about being admired. It is about being accountable. It is about carrying light in dark spaces. It is about representing strength with humility and faith. And if this message stirred something in your spirit, that is not coincidence. It is confirmation. Confirmation that you are not crazy. Not dramatic. Not too much. You are awakening. And awakening requires courage. So stand up internally. Straighten your posture. Lift your head. Walk with intention. Guard your peace. Protect your standards. Deepen your faith. You are not here to compete. You are here to elevate. If you know this message was meant for you, do not stay silent. Like this video, so it reaches another chosen woman who is questioning her worth. Comment, "I will not shrink," if you are done minimizing your power. Declare, "I choose discipline over distraction," if you are serious about your growth. And subscribe to Return to Awakening if you are ready to continue walking this path with strength, clarity, and faith. This is not entertainment. This is alignment. This is accountability. This is your reminder that the power you carry is sacred. And it is time to walk in it boldly.